We are live on Ezra Live. And of course, there's a lot to talk about. So I want to make sure I'm all plugged in here. Okay. I expect guests today. I know it takes a little time to get started on a live podcast, but you got to also remember, the reason why I just want to kind of talk from the beginning and keep talking from the beginning, even though it takes a little time to settle in on one of these, is because I also post this on Spotify and on Apple and everything like that. So I want people, if they're listening, they can't just listen to dead air till we feel comfortable, to get going here with guests or opinions or stuff to talk about automatically. Let me see here. Oh, this moves out of the way. So that's why I had to start off like this, where I just kind of ramble on, but it's just because I'm kind of just pulling the people that are just listening audio only after this record, after I post on Spotify and Apple. It's kind of pulling them along to let them know what's going on. So first things first, of course, I got to post this on Twitter that we are live. Let's just retweet something that I retweeted earlier. That seems easy enough, right? Let's see here. Tweet live. Let's see here. On here. Okay. We're good there. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. They've been going at each other for a while now. I don't know what to really make of it, honestly. I want to believe it. It feels like everything is heading in the right direction for it. It all seems to be heading in the right direction. And I'm not hearing anything negative. Only positive news for this fight. Oh, here, let me put this on. Okay, copy. But Carlos, let me put this on right here. Okay, so if you're trying to hop on the podcast, try to hop on the live, I posted it in the comments. So they just click that stream, you'll pop up right here, and I'll put you on. Carlos said he'd come on, so let's see if he does. Broadway supposedly going to come on. We'll see if he does. But yeah, everything I'm hearing is positive about Ryan Garcia and Tank. Everything positive. There's nothing negative. Nothing that's telling me this is not going to happen. Just besides my own logic on the fight, that just doesn't make sense to me that it would happen. Just because how I know boxing works, and I know how these fights, what the problem is McGinley's made, and the problem with Golden Boy, who has DAZN and can't really betray DAZN, right? Because this would be a betrayal of DAZN. It's taking your biggest star. Here's Broadway. It's at him. Broadway, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, man. How you doing?
All right. Very good. I'm talking right now, just starting with Ryan Garcia Tank. What are your thoughts? What do you make of this? Is this fight happening?
Man, I hope this fight ends in double knockout, man. Yo,
Why? I feel like everybody wants fights to end that way now. Everybody's so negative.
Bro, it's
I'm adding Carlos to the stream too. There's Carlos. Carlos, can you hear me?
Oh man.
It's good, boys.
Oh, what's up? All right, go ahead, Broadway. Tell me where you're feeling right now.
Nah, I'm just frustrated, man. I just want fights announced, man. I'm tired of this Instagram, Twittering bullshit, man. It's I'm tired of it. Oh, the fight's done, and oh no, I was just bored on the plane, so that's why I tweeted that. It's mad corny. It's annoying for the fans, especially the hardcore fans who we're the ones who are really invested in this. We're the ones anticipating things, and you playing kind of with our emotions, for lack of a better term, and I don't like it.
You know what I describe it as, and this is I was thinking about it, and this is what I would describe Ryan Garcia and Tank, just them specifically, what I would describe them as. And I don't know if you guys like teen movies. I don't know if you guys are a fan of teen movies or I don't know, teen comedies or rom-coms type thing. You two don't seem like the type that watch those. Okay, Carlos, I love it. Broadway, I don't know if you mess with those. I don't see you as a guy that watches a good teen movie once in a while.
Definitely not.
Exactly.
Nah,
I knew it.
Okay. No, I'm playing.
I knew it though. I knew it, Broadway. I knew it. But let me tell you what this is. This is a teen movie, and it's a will they or won't they type part of a teen movie, right? Whether they are going to date or not. And it's like you watch them and you're like, is this going to happen or not? They come from opposite sides of the world. They doesn't seem like they mesh and all that. And the whole movie, you're kind of just building up to whether it's going to happen or not. That's what this has turned into. And it's just the fact is like, we know that this matchup makes sense. We know that they want to be in the ring together, but for some reason, everything keeps pulling them apart. And you keep seeing these stupid things on Twitter that don't, like I said, like you said about the plane and all that. Everything I hear about this fight, though, is positive. Everything from every report is positive, that it's heading in the right direction. And I still don't believe it. And I'm an easy guy to get to believe a matchup is going to happen. And I still don't believe this fight's going to happen because of DAZN, because DAZN not being involved, because Golden Boy needs DAZN. But there is something interesting that did happen with this DAZN thing. And I think it's a thing that's going really under the radar. And that is that there was a fight that was supposed to happen that actually was kind of announced in a weird way. And that was Munguia versus Ryder. That was announced that it was agreed. And that fight was, so they were supposed to meet at 167. If you notice, that fight's not happening. No one ever really made it official. DAZN never made it official. And that was because DAZN didn't want to pay for it. Now, did that rub Del Hoya the wrong way? Did that rub Golden Boy the wrong way? Did they feel like, hey, you know what? If there's no money in here for us to make these type of fights, then hell, we'll take our business elsewhere. Because that's the only way. Because if Ryan Garcia goes and fights on Showtime pay-per-view with DAZN not involved at all, I don't know how Golden Boy and DAZN keep working their relationship, especially if Ryan loses. If Ryan loses, goes and fights and loses on Showtime, I don't know how DAZN and Golden Boy may recover the relationship after this.
I mean, it depends how he loses, to be fair. If he gets knocked out in the first round, but if he puts a competitive fight and it's like a 50-50 fight and then he loses a decision, I don't think his stock goes down as much.
No. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I would say this fight most likely is not going to decision, right? You would kind of feel that this fight's going to end in someone brutally knocked out. Yeah,
and it's going to be Tank knocked out.
It could be. I'm not saying.
It's gonna be Ryan knocked out, my boys. The other way around, bro.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have official. See, a lot of people I think want to say that Ryan gets knocked out cold. I think that's an easy thing to say because of you've seen one weakness in him, right? And it's easy because he's not the guy that's like the most technical boxer. He fights in his own way, but I don't know for sure that I don't know that he loses this fight. I think this fight's very close. I think this fight's going to have to be broken down and everybody's going to have an opinion. When we get closer and closer, I think it's going to be very divided on who wins this fight. I'm just saying, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, the only thing I will say, as far as that's an advantage to Tank, Ryan looked huge in that fight against Fortuna, and people were like, "Oh, it's because he fought Fortuna." No, just his body, the way his body,
he did
filled out good. I think he's a 40-pounder. I don't think he's a 35-pounder anymore. You gotta remember, he's young, so at that age, your body's growing.
Yeah, he's growing.
I don't think he's really a 35. So I think if he cuts down and makes the weight, I think that may cost him a little bit. But to be honest, to me, he looks like a full-fledged 140. That's on.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Carlos? What are your thoughts on this? How are you feeling about this fight?
Just the whole drama and beef. I mean, I think it's just ridiculous, bro. Like I said, when I saw those tweets, I kind of just laughed because I'm like, none of this shit I don't care about, bro. Like, people are saying, "Oh my God, it's finally gonna happen. It's finally gonna happen," bro. As soon as I see the official posters, then that's when I'm gonna fucking believe it. I don't give a fuck about all these tweets and all these. Oh, it's close to being done. Fuck that shit, bro. We've had the same shit with Spence and Crawford like a million times now, saying that it's being finalized, and it's not fucking finalized yet. So.
And that's a good point about the Spencer Crawford, because we literally can't talk about Spencer Crawford anymore.
Yeah, literally.
Until this fight gets signed, because
I'm still booked for November 19th.
Get your refund, bro. Get your refund.
I'm like,
no, just go, Broadway. Just go. Enjoy yourself. Just take a weekend.
Nah. I'm gonna have to cancel it. But I thought the only reason I haven't canceled it, I was like, oh, maybe they throw another fight, But at this point.
Yeah, it looked like they're backing away from that date. They're backing away from that date quickly. Yeah, so I don't know. I like I said, I've only heard positive about Ryan Garcia Tank. It sounds like everything's heading in the right direction. The fighters are making it sound like everything's heading in the right direction, but I don't know, just because of the way boxing works, I find it hard to believe.
Why the fuck did Tank tweet that shit about a done deal or some shit like that, and they're like, "Oh, guys, I was just getting off a plane and I was just bored."
because he
Like,
just
why the fuck would you say some shit like that, bro?
he's just
Like, that's
trolling.
some.
They're just
I
trolling.
mean, yeah, but
This
like,
is
come on,
this is
bro.
the
You know
next
these.
generation of fighters. I'm saying, like,
Yeah,
these
bro,
guys are
but you know
young.
how you-
They have to. You before you would never have this because you would never have access to the fighters like this. I understand people getting frustrated. Like, I understand that the Tyson Fury, like, people hate Tyson Fury right now. Like, there's not
Oh,
you
fuck.
can't find anyone to fight. Like, see, Carl, see your opinion when I
Nah,
said
like,
Tyson Fury. See
I
how
don't,
pissed he
I
got.
don't, I don't hate Tyson Fury, but like, he's definitely like annoying me. Like,
Wait,
it's,
but
yeah,
you
he's
know why
ridiculous
though?
right now.
But you know why he's annoying you so much? It's because you have so much access to him, right? Like, he could just tweet real quick and you'll see it, and he has access to your life. Like, that's what these fighters have now, and there's no one that can manage them 24/7, right? As far as
Yeah.
like, oh, you're gonna tweet this, you're gonna tweet this. There's just no one unless these guys like don't speak English, like, which is like, I'm pretty sure what's happening with Janet Beck's Twitter account, where it's like for sure not him tweeting, it's someone else tweeting for him. Like, unless you have that, but no, like, when these guys can tweet and they have their phones 24/7, they're gonna just tweet wherever the hell they want. And you see that Tank has to delete his tweets all the time because someone's like, "Hey, take that down." You know what I mean? So we just have too much access, and not that I don't mind having too much access to fighters. I think it's interesting, but we have a lot of access to the fighters now, and we got to go. It takes you down a long road when these fights are getting made, a lot of trash talking. People just get frustrated with it, and I think that we're in a great year of boxing. We're at the peak of frustration with the sport because you have Tyson Fury and Joshua talking, and that fight's not happening. You have Spence Crawford, like we said, not happening, and or it's happening but it's just being delayed. And then you have Ryan Garcia Tank, and it's like, just you can only be built up for so long, and with these guys tweeting every day like this, the frustration is going to happen, and that's where we're at right now.
I agree. Yeah, it's true.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you that this has been a great year for boxing. Only because it started off hot in the first 6 months. Listen, the first 6 months, that's the best 6 month stretch that I've had as a boxing fan in my entire life. To be honest, the last 4 months, it's been a little bit underwhelming, man. I'll be honest. Maybe I've enjoyed it personally with all my Dominicans having success,
yep.
but I'm a singular person.
I'll put it this way, right? We had a really good first half, and you're agreeing with that, right? We had a really good first half.
Absolutely.
If you spread that, I think that first half is better than probably most first halves of a year we've ever really probably had in boxing in a long, long time. If you spread that first half just throughout the year, you would say this is a good year in boxing. So we might struggle towards the end. We're definitely crawling to the finish line of the year. I'll give you that. But that first, you can't say it's a bad year when you had that first half like that.
No. I just said it's not a great year. It started off great. Now it's just
it's just a good year. Just a good year, and so we're crawling to the finish line. Yeah,
I say it's a pretty good year as well, especially with the fights that we have finishing off. Like, I mean, this Saturday is just fucking ridiculously stupid. I mean, you got the Wilder Hellenius fight, playing Morrell. You got Michelle Rivera, Haney and Cambosas, and then I mean, if you guys are obviously gonna watch, yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
too,
but the thing is, I like to add context to things. Now, Wilder Hellenius, it's looked at as a mismatch. Whether it is or isn't in the ring, that's a totally different conversation. Haney Cambosas, we saw it already, and it was a mismatch then. It's gonna be a mismatch now. And as far as the women's fight, I don't really watch women's boxing, but these are two fights that I'm actually invested in to some degree. So I will be watching. So those, I want to say that those fights are big fights, but again, I'm not really a women's boxing fan where I can tell you who was the last person each one of them fought. I can't tell you,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think
this weekend isn't as big as people trying to make it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just talking about this weekend. I'm also talking about, like, after this weekend, who's fighting? Lomachenko's fighting. And then
Lomachenko's fighting.
Zurdos, Bivol and Zurdo. So I feel like just all those fights in general, I mean, they're entertaining fights. And I say people are going to tune in. And as long as you tune in, I mean, that's good enough.
I'm going to add this guy. I'm pretty sure this is Clever, but he has a different name. So I might add him and then have to draw. I don't know who this is, but we're going to add him. Clever, that's you, right?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay. What's up with the name change, Clever? How can you have to make this so hard to know who you are?
No, that's what everyone calls me. That's what
Bass Reeves?
Yeah, Fanon dubbed that, and then everyone just calls me that now on YouTube. So
Oh, really?
it
I
works.
never heard of this. Okay.
It works.
What does Bass
Yeah.
Reeves mean?
Bass Reeves is the first Black U.S. Marshal.
Okay.
Django Unchained. Some of the fictional stuff is based off Bass Reeves.
It's
That
because
came
the
to Fox
mustache,
Spirit.
I'm guessing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I do want to Broadway. You were saying right now that this weekend is not as good as what people are making it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you know anybody who's like making heavy debate points about Wilder Hellenius or Haney Campbell? I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard nobody, and I don't mean a single person, talk about Haney Cambosos. I've heard people mention the Wilder fight. I've heard people mention the Wilder fight because a lot of people going, and and it's in New York, and it has a decent undercard with Michelle Rivera and Plant Durrell. And Russell and Rodriguez. So I hear people talk about that card a little bit, but I don't want to say this is a big weekend of boxing. It's like, damn, man, I got to decide which fight I want to see. And oh my God, it's like these fights are not competitive.
Daniel Ramirez says BoxRec has Hellenius number 20, and with Wilder coming off 2 losses, it's not a mismatch. That's a good point. I mean, we don't know what Wilder's going to look like in this fight. We have to realize that now, right? And Hellenius did look good the last Kanaki fight. Now, the first one, I thought he landed power, but I thought he was kind of losing that fight. The second one, I thought he kind of looked a lot better, and I thought he looked a lot more coordinated.
How old is Hellenius?
Hellenius is probably like mid-30s to late 30s. I mean, let's look this up right now.
Yeah, look that up.
I'd say he's probably about 36. I mean, he's been in a lot of like fights and shit.
I feel like he's been around for such a long time.
He's been around
I'm pretty sure he's 36.
I remember
36, 37 maybe.
38 years old. He's 38 years
Wow.
old.
There you go. So,
but like, remember, it's heavyweight though. It's heavyweight. Remember, like you can be a little older heavyweight.
No, I get it. But I'm just saying, this dude, if your whole career you never been the champion, I doubt you're gonna be put up a championship caliber performance when you're 38. I don't know. I don't look at this as a competitive fight. And shout out to Daniel Ramirez, that's my guy. But he's a big Wilder fan, and
I like Wilder too.
Yeah, see, I don't. I'm not. I'm a Wilder hater. I don't like Wilder at all.
Why hater though? Why that far?
Well, but hate is a strong word.
It's a little far.
It's like I'm not a Wilder fan. How about that? That's probably a better word.
That's fair.
I mean, what's it called? Our boy Box Talk. He's not the biggest Canelo fan, and still much love for him. So it's all good, man.
No. But he's talking about Freddie.
Yeah.
Canelo for whatever reason.
I agree, and shout out to Freddie. I got to meet him this past weekend over at Fundora. We met up and shit. Great guy.
Oh, you were there, Clyde?
Yeah, I was there. I'll be at Wilder too.
I should have rolled through.
You're gonna be?
I wish you did.
You coming to New York?
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh shit! All right, so I'll see you there.
You know what I will say about this weekend, though, Broadway, is 2 weekends ago I didn't have one fight on my TV screen. There wasn't one fight to put on one of my TV screens. Right? That's a horrible weekend. That's a horrible weekend in boxing. I'm gonna have like 5 TVs going this weekend. That's what I want to see. I understand there's nothing right like some amazing matchup. Besides, I think the women's fights does have 2 amazing matchups, in my opinion, right?
It's just entertainment-wise.
Yeah, but there's going to be something to watch. And there's some name power. Deontay Wilder has name power, right? Michelle Rivera has some name power. Haney has some name power. There's some Plant Durrell is actually a pretty interesting matchup. I think that there's enough here to keep my interest the whole Saturday. That's all I ask. That's all I ask as a boxing fan, honestly. I can't do this. Like when Eubank and Ben was canceled, it really, really, really screwed my weekend up. It really screwed my Saturday.
Me too, bro. Me too.
I don't like that. Don't screw my Saturdays. Give me 5 cards because one gets canceled. I can't do this 2-card thing. It's too risky. It's not worth it.
I skipped the whole fucking party for that shit, man.
I was standing there at 11 o'clock. I had to hang out with my family. You understand? I couldn't just ignore everyone and watch boxing. I had to hang out with my family. Yeah, and I really hope my wife isn't watching this right now. I'll tell you that right now. I hope this is one she skips.
Does she watch your lives?
Sometimes she tunes
a
in.
boxing fan?
No, she's kind of forced. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna pick something up. It's like if you don't like I don't know, say like your dad hunts and you don't like hunting, you're gonna know a little something about hunting though, because your dad's only talks about it all the time, 24/7. That's like what it is. Like she picks up things here and there. She's a real big fan of Ryan Garcia, maybe a little bit too much of a fan of Ryan Garcia, in my opinion. But yeah,
I mean, she knows talent, bro. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess we can phrase it that way.
It feels kind of funny too, because like in my family, I'm like the only real like kind of hardcore boxing fan, because like all my family, they just know like Canelo and shit like that. So it's kind of funny just to be the only one who actually knows all these fighters, and that's why I usually just come with you guys and just talk about that shit, because I have no one else to really talk about it.
Yeah, that's what boxing fans are. That's what Twitter boxing actually. Twitter boxing is a bunch of guys that had no one to talk to. Danny Ramirez says, "What do you think of Michael Coffey versus Gergen Hovhannisyan? That's a good fight on the Wilder Helenius undercard." You guys are familiar with Hovhannisyan?
I'm not, but
I'm not either. I'm looking him up right now.
I want to talk about Michael Coffey, man. He's from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, and I'm biased, but I need him to get his CDL license. Just find a job with some good benefits. Like boxing is boxing for everyone.
That's hilarious.
I'm sorry, he's not that talented. He gasses out like in the second round. I don't think he's any good.
He looked interesting until the point where Rice just used leg movement, and then you realize that Coffey was planted to the ground with his feet, and he was not going to be able to make up that space, and he was very slow with his feet, and you're like, yeah, this is a huge weakness. If he's matched up correctly, like if someone that's going to stay on the inside with him, he's pretty interesting. I think he's pretty interesting. He puts some interesting shots together. He's a little crafty, but as soon as someone can move around the ring, he is in trouble. That is a huge flaw.
He has no gas tank. We need to check his birth certificate and make sure he's not Dominican, because he'd be gas.
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with that guy, but he says Danny says it's a tough fight for Coffey. I mean, I imagine after that Rice fight, they didn't have too much faith in him. They try to give him a little push. I mean, they try to give Coffey a little push, and he just ran into Rice, and that was trouble for him. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good weekend. What are we thinking for Haney? What are we expecting? Just tell me what do you expect from this fight? Do you expect the
12
same
round snooze fest?
Broadway?
I hate to agree, but if that's what happened in the first fight and he didn't push for the knockout or didn't try to open up and just use a jab, I think that's pretty much what's going to happen. I mean, unless Kambosos gets a little bit more aggressive, where he forces Haney to open up. But I don't think the fight's going to be much entertainment. One, because it's going to be one-sided, and two, just Haney just doesn't have power and seems content with decisions.
What do you think, Clever?
Yeah, you're going to put another hurt on Kambosos. I do expect Kambosos to be a little more aggressive and just be more aggressive and kind of take more chances, because he took everything on the face coming from Haney.
Anybody takes punches from Haney. I'm just being honest. He kind of doesn't have any power.
Yeah, for sure. That's okay. What's that? He'll be all right, man. Haney's just got the game figured out at such a young age, man. He's really, really smart in there, so he's a tough out. If you ask me, I wish they wouldn't put all the fights on that. I kind of don't like it, all those fights on the same day, man, because like Broadway, man, I don't care about women's boxing, man. Like, not at all. I'm sure those fights will be okay. I'm sure they'll be fun. I come from old school thought, man. Just I ain't trying to watch women beat on each other, man.
I feel you, bro.
I'm telling you right now, and I'm just gonna say right now, women's boxing is going to be the biggest growth in boxing over the next 5 years, and you can see the start of it this year. Like this year has been a huge push for women's boxing. In the next 5 years, like you're going to see major stars come from women's boxing. I'm telling you right now.
I disagree with that, but okay, I'll defer to you.
I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify one thing on my take on women's boxing. It's just it hasn't captivated my interest. It's not that I'm did or anything like that. The only thing I will say, I know Amanda Serrano personally, so I do support her.
Yeah, I like her too.
Yeah, like again, we've known each other. We've known each other since we were 15, 16, probably younger than that, honestly. But So with her, I may always make an exception. I watch all her fights. I support her, but again, women's boxing just hasn't captivated my interest. I'm not necessarily against it.
Yeah, you don't see the star power yet. There's not the matchups there that really interest you, and that's what happens. And that's like, honestly, I always say this, but the UFC was not for women's fighting. Dana White literally said he's not going to ever have women's fighting on the UFC. He said that, and then Ronda Rousey happened, not on the UFC. She happened on Strikeforce, and he bought Strikeforce and brought her over and realized he had a star. A lot of the times, like the stars of the UFC happened weren't because the UFC planned this. Like it was kind of an accident or just kind of lucked into something. But that's what I'm saying. Like they were against it too. They weren't like for women's fighting. Look at how huge it is for them now.
Ezra, she lasted for maybe 2 years.
Yeah, but she was huge. Star is a star no matter what. That was a huge star, man. She was a massive star though.
But that's all MMA stars. They all fizzle out pretty quick. They turn them and burn them over there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, there's a lot of times too. Like you got to think, like the thing is, like with Conor McGregor, like he was.
I take that back. 15 months.
Yeah, well, I mean, in that point though, like she was dominant, and she was a huge star. Like she was a huge star. I mean, she was as big as any star that we have in boxing right now. Like that's just the truth of it. Like,
I remember at one point people.
I bet you, Broadway, and I didn't care.
Broadway, were you a fan of Ronda Rousey? Did you watch any Ronda Rousey fights?
Oh, yeah.
I seen her fight twice. No, I think once, and that was when she lost to Nunes.
Oh, okay, so you cut it at the end.
Yeah, but I was aware of.
You were aware, right?
Yeah, and I would see the highlights, stuff like that. But I never like went to a fight party or bought a pay-per-view. Never. But then again, I'm not a big MMA fan in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a casual fan. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll watch a fight here and there. I'm not one of these boxing guys who hates UFC. I'm not one of those. But, every now and then I watch. But the thing is, they do their fights on Saturdays. I'm watching boxing on Saturdays.
Yeah, actually, I think there's a UFC fight this weekend, too, as well. Oh, shoot.
That one's dry as fuck, though, man.
Is it? It's not good? Okay, when is...
Nah. And I love UFC.
When is Oliveira's next week?
That's next week, man.
Next week.
Okay, I'm definitely watching that one, bro. I'm a big UFC fan. Like, I would say I've recently become more of a boxing fan, to be honest. But like, I definitely know my shit too when it comes to like MMA. So yeah, it's pretty cool over there. But right now, I just feel like boxing's where it's at, to be honest, right now.
It's crazy because the UFC is putting like probably one of their best cards, and it's going to be on at 11 o'clock in the morning next week.
Damn, that's 11 o'clock in the morning. Oh,
yeah, because it's in Dubai.
Oh yeah, that's in Dubai, but sometimes
they
do them sometimes they do them later though. So damn, I didn't think it was that early. Shit, hopefully I don't have to work, but fuck it.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of times like it's just like Broadway says, like it's just not something that doesn't capture your attention because they just don't have the name power or doesn't have the matchup that gets everyone excited. But I did think that I still think Serrano and Taylor is a strong candidate for fight of the year. I really believe it.
But like, can we? I don't know. I just feel like it should be female fight of the year and male fight of the year.
I mean,
you could do that too. I mean, either way, then if we're doing a separate one, then that's definitely fight of the year for the female.
No,
yeah, close.
I agree. But like, you know what I'm saying? That how much better is that? I mean, whatever. I just think it's a different sport, man. They fight in less minutes around, and they fight in less rounds.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true. I think I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they don't do just the 3-minute rounds. I don't get it.
3 12-minute rounds. That's it. The only thing is that women are actually more susceptible to concussions. That's like a fact. And I guess they're trying to keep the sport safe for women. The WBC said that they'll never sanction a fight that's 3-minute, 12-minute rounds. 3-minute, 12 rounds for women, that they'll never sanction it.
That's weird because that doesn't make sense because there's not a lot of knockouts and there's not like very rare, honestly, like knockouts.
Well, it's probably because of the way they have the rules.
Oh, maybe. Okay, I guess what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know because what about I always think about this when they put like the NFL. There's like all these concussions that are happening this year, and you see like Steven Espinoza was like, oh, it's so disgusting. Like how could they let him to a play the next week after he got knocked out. And I was thinking about like all the prospects that they put in with a guy that got knocked out probably like 5 times this year, and they put him in there like not a care in the world for that guy. And I was thinking about when they put Sanicia Estrada against the girl who was just like a soccer mom. Like she had like remember that, and she put her out like in 3 seconds. Brutal, like one of those brutal knockouts.
I remember I saw that. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Like,
they put her in. Like the lady clearly didn't know how to fight. She had clearly like just like was doing like basically like a workout at LA Fitness for boxing, and she went in there and got knocked out like in 30 seconds. And I was thinking about like they weren't caring about concussions and.
No, and they put on Rayo versus Francisco Vargas.
Yeah, not even a thought process. Like that's just funny. That's funny to me. That's why I always think it's so hilarious when they like people complain about the NFL, especially people in boxing, promoters and network heads. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? I see brutal knockouts to guys that have been knocked out 10 times like in the last 2 years.
Listen, man, I like to me, Francisco Vargas needs to get his boxing license ripped up, and then you throw him in against one of the hardest punching prospects in all of boxing. It's like, come on. I thought I don't know if you remember, lead up to that fight on my YouTube channel, I was going crazy, like saying this fight should not be happening, and it ended in the first round knockout because I knew that's exactly what was. Well, maybe not the round, but I knew exactly it was going to be a mismatch, and it happened just the way I thought it would.
You know what else fight I felt like that with? And this guy wasn't even like washed or anything. I just thought like the skill level and what this guy was like so open to. I thought like this fight shouldn't be sanctioned. Like it really shouldn't been. It was Wilder versus Brazil. I always thought from like the beginning, I was like, man. Yeah, I thought like I was like, oh, like they literally like sanctioned something that could end very, very, very ugly because Brazil was like never that level of fighter. He was getting built up because he had like the football background. He's a big guy, but he was just like, I mean, that was just like a bloody meat in the water with a shark. I mean, that was, I knew that was going to happen. I wish I was just like a betting man and I would have just threw all my money on the first round because it was so clear that was going to be a first round knockout. It was so clear.
I remember there's like this funny story. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one guy named Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, Brendan Schaub. Yeah,
I remember he was telling the story on the Joe Rogan podcast how he went to the fight and he was gonna like cut in between rounds to like talk about like a Showtime deal or something, and then obviously ended in the first fucking round. he didn't get the chance to promote his Showtime deal or something. And I remember he talked about like how he was sitting right beside Brazil's family, and he was like very close to celebrating, but then he just saw their family and he was like, "Oh shit, never mind."
That knockout was brutal. And he's a big man, bro. So like, yeah, when he knocked out, like, it looked like a tree
he knocked
falling.
him the fuck out.
Yeah, that was a brutal knockout.
Has he fought after that?
Yeah, he did actually. He had a really good fight with Wallen. Actually, that was actually a pretty competitive fight.
All right, I didn't know that. Damn.
Yo, Ezra, when you coming out to New York for a fight, man? Get on a fight.
I'm telling you, I could barely go down the street from my condo. Like I swear, like I can't.
Girl.
Huh?
Bring your girl.
What happened?
Bring your girl.
Oh yeah, it's the baby. It's not that. It's not the girl.
Oh,
it's the baby. Yeah, it's the baby. It's like.
Where are you from?
Funky with a. I'm from SoCal.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So yeah. It's
Oklahoma.
You're from Oklahoma?
Yeah.
How's it out there? How you like it out there?
Shit, I mean, it's boring as fuck, bro. You don't really get to do much out here, you know, and the weather's always bipolar as fuck. So it is what it is.
You always lived out there?
Huh?
You always lived out there?
Yeah, I mean, I was born here, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we travel yearly and shit, and like, it's a cool like 4 or 5 days when we're on vacation. But then you come back and you're like, God damn. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's home, so you know, it's where I feel safe and shit, and you know, I get to watch my fights, and you know, I'm always comfortable here. But I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, in a couple of years, maybe I can move out somewhere nicer and shit. But I mean, for right now, I mean, I like it. I mean, I lived there all my life, so I'm not gonna complain and shit. But like, it's cool. I mean, it's just like there's nothing to do, man. You know, like I mean, we have a state fair every year, but like that's literally it. Literally, bro.
Yeah. We're about in Oklahoma, like major
Oklahoma.
city. Oh, okay. I'm from Plano, man. Like right there in like Sherman and shit. So I grew up a big Boomer Sooner fan. I spent a lot of time up there, man. Cushing, Oklahoma, Lake Texoma, just fishing, being crazy, going to casinos like every other weekend, getting fucked out.
Damn.
But yeah, man, I'm from Texas, man. So like that's home. That's home.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I like
yeah.
Texas. I like Texas. It's pretty cool.
Definitely. I like Oklahoma a lot, man. In fact, you asked me about Bass Reeves earlier. Ezra, that was his territory, man. The Comanche territory right there leads up all the way to Kansas and whatnot, but mostly Oklahoma, top of Texas.
This has been a beautiful, informative podcast. Way more informative than I ever thought it'd be. But now we know who Bass Reeves is. We know where the area he roamed, and I love it. I love the turn this podcast is taking.
I like that the homies from Oklahoma, though, man. So like I spent a lot of time there, man. A lot of time growing up. It's fucking, like you said, it's bipolar weather, man. It's like hot, it's cold, it's rainy, then it's
Literally,
fucking
bro.
hot again, and then it's like some fucking tornado coming through, and you're like, what the fuck? Or like straight up, like
Okay, we get back to boxing.
Did we stir too far into Oklahoma? I think we did.
Yo,
I think we did a little bit. It's all right. It was a nice turn, like I said.
Carlos from Oklahoma. Next question.
Literally, bro. Although you're talking about the state fair and shit.
The state fair was hilarious, though.
Bro,
it was hilarious because that's the
literally.
thing you look for every year.
Carlos, go to the Texas State Fair, man. That's the best one.
You got two. That's two, Carlos.
You gotta
That's
go,
two
bro.
you got in a year. That's two things you can do.
Not
in a year.
even go to that shit either.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
go to the one.
hilarious.
Let's go.
That is funny. Well, okay. What else we got happen? Oh, okay. What's your thoughts on Conor Ben Eubank? Should the fight have been canceled? Are you good with the fight being canceled? Go ahead, Broadway. I'll start off with you, Broadway.
Absolutely, it should have been canceled. I mean, like that's a danger to both fighters. And fucking Conor Ben is in a no-win situation. He wins, it's because you were juiced up. He loses. How the fuck you juiced up and you still lose? It was a no-win situation. Cancel the fight. It should not be up to the fighters. It should be up to the commission. That's who it should be up to. And the commissions did the right thing in pulling the plug. That's what I would have done if I was the commission. And I'm glad the fight didn't happen.
I do want to say this one thing though, because I know the commission is going to get a lot of credit because they canceled the fight, and it's the right thing to do. You're right. The commission was not going to pull this fight. They were going to actually go ahead with this fight until it was released to a news outlet. This fight was not going to be canceled. They were going to have it, and the commission was going to be perfectly fine with this fight happening until a news outlet got it, and they knew that was going to be bad media, bad press, and that's when they decided to cancel it. So I do want to credit to them for canceling it, but there is that fight was going to happen.
There's that asterisk. All right. I see.
Yeah.
You informing me with this new news, but that's crazy that they knew beforehand and they didn't cancel it, and that it wasn't reported to the media immediately. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's actually insane, and it's just funny that whoever leaked it. They just ruined everybody's plans because everyone knew about it. You know what I mean? Everyone knew about it.
Whoever leaked it did the right thing, though.
What do you think, Carlos? Did you want to see this one go forward, or?
Nah, I mean, obviously, like entertainment wise, and shit, it would have been nice because it was a big fight. But like, nah, if you really care about the fighters and shit, like, it obviously shouldn't have gone on. Like, as if Eubank didn't already have to train himself to get the 157, and then only like rehydrate to 10 pounds. You're telling me that Conor Ben already has to, use PEDs to his advantage, like, nah, man, that shit would have been really dangerous. So, yeah, it's better to cancel it, and maybe they can postpone it, but, if Conor Ben doesn't get suspended for 4 fucking years, we'll see.
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I first, when I heard the 4 years, I thought this is ridiculous. That's too much.
Yeah,
first-time offender and everything. I'm going to change my opinion on this.
I mean,
I think you can't. They're always going to be ahead of the testing, right? That's what everyone says. They're never going to be able to. Everyone that's like an expert on this says that the new PED will always be ahead of the testing. They'll never be able to catch it. They're only catching barely scratching the surface on who they're catching. So if they can't keep the testing, can't catch up, right? And they can't even do consistent testing, and there's not money to do that. The one thing you could do is just make the punishment so severe that if you are doing it and you do happen to get caught, that the risk is so risky that it could ruin your career. So I'm all for now the 4-year suspension, because they're not going to catch most of these guys. But if you do get caught and you're willing to take that risk, the punishment could make you lose your whole prime, right? It could make you lose your whole prime of your career. and that's the only way to deter people from doing it. It's just making the getting caught just so damn risky for your boxing career. So I am all for the 4-year. I'll do a 10-year. Do a 10-year suspension. If you get caught, it's a 10-year suspension. Now I heard someone say that yes, 10-year suspension for or 4-year suspension for PEDs is good, but like if it's a weight burner, then make it less, because a weight burner is just because these guys are trying to make weight or whatever. Make it a less suspension for that. Maybe okay, possibly that's not a bad idea, but I'm all for the long suspension. What do you think, Clever? What do you think about this whole everything that just kind of went down?
I laughed hysterically. I never liked the fight to begin with. I start pulling my blame at Eddie Hearn first. Like, what a loser, dude. You got Conor Benn, and you don't give him a contender to fight at the welterweight series, but you try to move him up to fight a 68-pounder. Just ridiculous, man. That's bad business. As this happened, new information steadily came out, and Eubanks Sr. was on this almost a month prior, saying boycott the fight. He knew, like you guys are saying, everyone knew. It's also a historical fact. The British Border Commission or whatever, they've allowed fights in years past. So not only did it get leaked to the press, they had to do something, man, because they've let this happen so many times. As far as suspension goes, I would say a full 365 days. You do it again, we could talk about 3 and 5 years, but the young man's image is ruined, and that's on Eddie Hearn as promoter. And then he came out trying to protect it and to try to promote it still and keep it going. Crazy. That's it's bad business. And look, all 4 of us aren't perfect either, but since we do get to point the finger here, that's a bad look, and they deserve all that coming to them, man. You do wrong, you get caught. That's what you get, man.
Do you really think his image is tarnished forever?
I wouldn't say forever, man, because for us, I'm going to use us for the example. We have to forgive him and try to move forward. That's the only way we're going to be able to look at him. But
because I think if he comes back with an impressive performance, I don't think we're going to be talking about this. Like, I think it'll be brought up, but I don't think it'll be hanging over his head.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it also depends on who it's against, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though, like, okay, say he disappears for, like Clever says, 1 year, which I think is probably likely, 1 year suspension. And then he comes back and he knocks out anyone. He has to get a tune-up, right? Knocks out anyone. I really don't think after that fight, I don't really think that's going to be talked about a lot. I think people will use it like on boxing Twitter, like as jokes and stuff. But I don't think it's going to be like, oh, he's ruined. I really don't. I don't think that these things last long on fights.
Yeah, I agree with that because I'm just like, man, like he's so unproven. I don't care. Like whatever with this guy. You know how I feel about UK guys. Like whatever, man.
But like you got to remember, like Luis Ortiz, I think he failed 2 tests, if I'm correct. Luis Ortiz failed 2 tests. He failed one against Latif Coyote, and I want to say he failed one before that. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I know he failed one against Latif Coyote
for HGH,
for PD, and
well, yeah, man, he's fucking 50.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Probably gonna get pissed about that, but
I'm not. That's not a joke. Like that's real. He needs that. Like it's recovery.
Shit, stop that fucking racist shit, bro.
No.
Yeah, you only say because he's Cuban.
Hey, man, wait a minute. Time out. I'm not going there. Don't stop. Nope.
Why are you
not going there?
No other fighter.
I'm saying that about all fighters who use PEDs.
No.
Let me clarify.
No, he's talking about the age thing. He's talking about the age.
Well, man, look. First off, boxing aside, guys do this normally and get prescribed this normally. It's for recovery for old guys.
No. He's talking about the ageism as far as saying that Luis Ortiz lied about his age.
Man, I don't care about that. Like, I mean, well, he is, but like, I don't care about that. No, whatever.
Stop saying that. Stop. How do you know that?
I'm looking at him, Broadway. He looks old as shit. Go look at him in the first fight in Ortiz and look at him in his last fight. He looks significantly almost 10 years older. Granted, he's a boxer, but he looks old. I mean, you're right. I don't know how old he is, but I'm damn well suspecting that he's older. No, listen to me. I'm saying
only people y'all only talk about that shit with Cubans. Y'all don't talk about that shit
with
Cubans.
Brother. Stop saying y'all, and you can just say me. But
no, I'm saying y'all because it's been happening.
To be fair, Clever, Broadway did call me out on this last one too.
So listen, hang on. I'm gonna say this about anybody. I don't care if they're Cuban. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're white. I don't care if they're Mexican. I don't care what they are. If you look older to me, like Triple G, for instance, I think he's fucking older than what he is. He's not Cuban.
I've
Okay,
never.
he's being fair, Broadway. He's being fair now.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, last time I said I was just
Hold
making
his
a
ass
joke.
so, like, no, what I'm saying is, like,
I've
dude,
never heard.
like,
Show
stop
me a
trying to
tweet
put me.
where
Whoa, you just
show
heard
me
it
a
now.
tweet where you
You
said
just
that.
heard it now. You just heard it now.
Hold on. I'm gonna look up your Twitter right now. See, I'm a
No, man, I haven't tweeted since spring, man. I'm off that shit now.
You're
haven't
done,
tweeted
Clipper?
since-
You're done with boxing Twitter?
Just about.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Just about.
I remember one time I took a little bit of a break from Twitter. It was on my old account, so you won't find this. But I remember this one dude. He was the biggest McGregor meat writer, bro. And like he's like, he's gonna knock out Poirier. He's gonna knock out Poirier. And I was like, bro, just watch. Your boy's gonna get fucked up. And I remember, obviously, his boy got fucked up. I swear, like every fucking week, this guy was messaging me saying, "Fuck you. Where do you live, motherfucker? Where do you live? Let me come find you. Let me come find you." Shit like that. I'm like, bro.
You
What
should
is
just.
wrong with
I
you,
hope you
man?
blocked him, man. I hope you just blocked him.
I
and
didn't
just
even
kept it pushing. Kept it pushing. Kept it pushing.
I didn't block him, bro, because it was just so fucking funny to me. I kept trolling him, entertaining him, and he just kept getting so pissed off. It was the funniest shit ever.
I'm gonna be adding Frank. So Frank, can you hear me?
Yeah, man. I
Okay,
hear you.
welcome to the
What's up,
conversation.
Easy?
What's up? How's it going, man? Welcome to the
That's good.
conversation. We're speaking on like the PEDs and everything that that are happening in boxing. I was saying that I think a 4-year suspension is actually good because it's the
Wow.
only thing to deter a fighter from really taking it. They're not catching these guys. They're barely catching anyone, and that the punishments are light. These guys are just going to keep doing it. There's nothing to really deter them from doing it. So I think a 4-year suspension makes a lot of sense. You could take someone's prime away. You could take a huge part of where they could collect a lot of money in their career away. So that's the only way you're going to deter these guys from taking this stuff. What do you think?
No. I think when there's so much money on the table, people would do anything for the bag. Never put greed. Greed will always win in the end.
But that's what I'm saying, though, right? That they would. That's what I'm saying. So you have to punish them because, yes, they will do that. So if you're willing to do that, then fine, take that chance. But if you get caught, and it seems like most people say that these PD tests are only IQ tests. If you get caught, then you got to pay the punishment.
Yeah, but that'll never happen. So just cut. I don't
know. Conor Ben might get a 4-year suspension. I mean, that is on the table, and don't forget they do make examples of people. And remember that, like I said, the commission was going to let this fight happen until it got reported, right, to a news outlet. If they were going to do that, then they know that they are doing something for public image. They might really lay the law down, similar to I don't know if you guys remember the Plaxico Burr situation in New York.
Yeah, I remember
the gun law, and he shot himself, and they really threw the book at him on that one. That wasn't the standard the way they were handling that situation. They were using him as an example because he was a famous person who shot himself in the leg with a gun, and they used him as an example. Conor Ben might be in that situation.
Again, though, but the British Board of Commissions they have a history of letting the stuff slide. So yes, Ezra, like they may use him for an example.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
that's like
I'd be
a death
surprised.
penalty, though. There should be levels and steps to. You can't stop the man from feeding his family. Like you have to take that into account too. I know we want to persecute and have witch trials and have a witch hunt and hang everybody, but I mean there has to be a process.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're gonna go through it, but if he tests positive, he piss high. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And you would say, yes, he has he needs to provide for his family. Well, hell, if he's on PEDs, he might be taking someone's ability for providing for their family. I mean, if he goes and puts a beating on Eubank and he's on something, well, then he's taking someone's ability for providing for their family.
But
you know what I mean? So
that would only be if Chris Eubanks didn't. He was willing to. You fight him anyway, so you can't levy a harsh penalty if even the people that he's gonna face are okay with it.
No, but you got to protect the fighter from himself. You can't let him make that decision. He goes in there, gets fucking paralyzed, God forbid, from an overhand right, and it's because the guy's juiced up. Like, come on, man, nah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things we do that we sign waivers. Like when you step in the gym, you have to sign a waiver. Like
yeah, but not nobody.
I understand. Huh?
But is it? I'm talking about is something as official as this. You fighting somebody on testosterone or whatever the fuck he was on is dangerous. And yeah,
And-
you can
and
have
rem-
a waiver,
and-
but
and-
you have to protect the fighter from himself.
But to be honest, there is no waiver for this. That's the truth of it. Because if you remember the John Jones, Daniel Cormier situation, John Jones tested positive like the day before the fight. DC said, "I'll sign something. I'll sign a waiver. We'll make this fight still happen." That doesn't exist. There's no real thing on that because the commission is not at fault here. They'll get sued. The boxing, the promoter will get sued. Or they will get sued in the fight if something like that happens and death happens.
I
Or
said Eddie Hearn, man. There's your
they're
right
at
there.
risk. So they
He's the one who
can't
put all
say
this
like,
shit
"Oh,
together.
we're gonna still make this happen." They tried to make that happen because what they were gonna do was not announce it, right? So technically, nothing had happened wrong because no one knew of it. That's what they were gonna try to do. But once it was out, it was out. They couldn't do it. They couldn't make it happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's in a bad situation now. 4 years, I understand that. When I first heard it, I was like, "That's too much." Obviously, that's too much. But now that I think about it, I'm like, how do you get these guys to stop? It would have to be something that really makes you pay in your career.
And again, like I said, when there's so much money on the table, nobody's gonna stop. It's the difference between that. I said this; it was in jest. It was kind of a joke, but imagine if Ocampo had the funds and access to PEDs. Would he do it? Probably would, because he would have KO'd that dude. Like when there's that much money ahead of you, you can never put past what people are gonna do, and that's on people on your team.
But that's why you have rules, though. But that's why you have rules and law sets. If I don't have a speed limit, people will probably go 150 miles per hour on the freeway. Yes, I agree with you on that. People will push the limits. That's why we have rules and laws. And if one guy goes 150 miles per hour and then I start going 140, I say I'm cool with him going 150 miles per hour. It don't matter what I'm cool with. It's still a law that he's breaking. So that, yeah, I understand. Yes, people are willing to take something really far when money's involved. That's why we have laws and limits and regulations.
The only thing that would have to happen would be fighters or managers or people not wanting to work with him anymore. They will set the precedent. That a fighter say, "Hey, I'm not fighting that cheat." But we seen it with Shakur. He knew Valdez was dirty and he still fought him. Called him a cheat and everything, but you know what? I'll still fight you.
That's why the commissions have to step in and get involved. Like Broadway said, you can't leave it on the fighters. You can't leave it on the. See, the thing is like, and Clever was saying like, "Oh, it's Eddie Hearn's fault, right? Is it blaming on him?" Eddie Hearn is the thing. What people don't realize is these dudes are just businessmen. They're just trying to make a dime. That's it. That's all these guys are trying to do. They are not here to regulate the sport. They are not here to put rules on the sport. The promoter, that's not his job. He's not there to deflate. He's there to promote. He's there to create something bigger. And if people are surprised that he lied, like why? Do you think when you go buy a car, you don't think they're lying to you? You don't think that they're curving the truth to get you to buy the cars in front of you? Of course, you have to know what you expect when you're talking to someone. A promoter is a liar. That's just the truth of it. That's the truth of it. They have to bend the truth to make it sound like this is, this is the biggest fight in British history. I have no idea if that's true. I have no idea. There's probably no facts beyond that to back that up. But that's what he has to say. So I'm not going to hold the promoter because I know what the promoter is going into it. I never hold him in high regard. Right?
You trying to kill the man.
No, I'm not trying to kill the man. What I'm saying is the commission did their job because that's what. No, I get you. But the commission did their job. That's what we did. The steps here is not the promoter to do this job. The promoter's job is not to stop a fight. He's to make it happen. The network is trying to make a fight happen. The commission did its job only when it was forced by journalism to get that broke the news. They forced the commission to do its job. The big problem is funny that everyone's like on Eddie Hearn and the fighter. The damn commission was going to let this fight happen. They knew about it. That's the biggest problem. No one's realizes is going on in the British boxing is the commission was going to let this fight happen. And everyone's saying about Eddie Hearn and the thing, he's a promoter. He's trying to make money. Of course he's going to do that. Eubank, of course he was going to allow it to happen because he was trying to miss on that payday. Conor Benn, of course he's going to cheat because he's trying to get paid. The one thing that's going to happen here was the commission was going to let this fight happen. That's the craziest part about it.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, bro. Yeah, that's really, really fucked up. I mean, yeah, and the fact that they pulled out was definitely because of the whole publicity and how much backlash they were getting. They're like, all right, you know what? Yeah, we're just going to pull out. So, yeah, I think that's honestly just disgusting, just in general, to be honest with you.
Man, Eubank, you said the bag right there. He should have sued his ass for a breach of contract and get some restitution for breaking the rules and taking steroids. And then, I mean, he did sign himself to get to 57 pounds or whatever, but just breach a contract, dog. Fuck all of that, man. Like I said, Eddie's ruining.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Clever. And that actually has had there. So I guess there's precedent. And this is not something that I knew in my head. I heard someone else talk about this. So Deontay Wilder, and I want to say it was Povetkin. I could be wrong, but I believe Povetkin tested positive going into a fight with Deontay Wilder. Anyone
Yeah, I remember that.
this?
Yeah,
Familiar
and
with
the
this?
judge threw it out. Yeah.
Yes,
I heard
because
that.
they threw it out because they said that taking a PED is not a breach of contract. So I guess there would be precedent of that not working. But Deontay Wilder did try to do that. He did try to say, well, he screwed up my payday, so I want to get paid. I wanted him to pay something for that. But they said that wasn't a breach of contract. So I don't know. There would be a, there's a case, case, what is it called? The case sample of that not being able to work. But that was brought up, but that is an interesting point. To going after someone saying like, "Hey, we signed a clean fight, and you didn't come in and honor the deal."
Well, you know what, man? Forget those UK guys, man. They don't even support this channel, man. I don't want to talk about them no more.
I wonder.
I don't want to talk about these guys no more, man.
I need some UK support.
Now,
The funny part is that like I wanted Eubank to win that fight too, just because like his personality is pretty funny, and I'm always gonna fuck with someone who's like a funny guy, and like the whole lead up, he was just like trolling the hell out of Ben, saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm not even taking you serious, bro," and shit like that. So I actually was rooting for him, but I thought Ben was gonna win. So
no, Carlos, no, he wasn't gonna win, man.
I kind of thought Ben was gonna win too.
Yeah,
I thought Ben was gonna win, bro.
Wow, wow,
winning as
man.
well.
Wow, why?
I thought that Ben's you got to think like, to me, I mean, Eubank has never really risen to the moment that much. I mean, he has a win like against Liam Williams, but even the second half of that fight, he was kind of dogging it out. Like he was really kind of tired and just kind of using his tricks to survive. And I thought Conor Ben, the one thing about him is he's kind of consistent throughout a fight, and he's kind of consistent with his speed and power. And he's a little more skilled and craftier than people give him credit for. I think it's a lot of times like perspective of when he started, he was just kind of like similar to Eubank, but right now more recent is he was just kind of like a famous guy's son.
Wait, hang on. Before you go there,
Go ahead.
Because I remember I was watching a video when you were breaking your pre-fight breakdown of it, where like, how did you think was going to win?
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of in the comments messing around. Actually, man, like Carlos, I like Eubank too. He's really got skin in the game, man. He, like you say, he does have a famous dad, but he put all that behind him, and he's been in America way before even the Roy connection.
Yeah,
he beat one of my favorite guys, like James DeGale.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been in some wars. He beat a formidable Groves.
I think
and then
you
he lost
with UK guys.
James DeGale came. No, James DeGale comes from a different era, man. This current era is all trash, man. All trash. But
Fury beat the shit out of Wilder.
All they got is Fury, a Sonny, and a Josh Taylor. Anyone else is completely unproven or not good.
Shit,
that's my opinion.
That's a good trio to have. That's a good trio to have.
Compared to us, where from anywhere between 122 all the way up to a heavyweight, we got the fucking dudes.
Yeah,
whether that's American or Mexican.
America got such a way bigger population.
I see.
I mean, if one of your favorite fighters is literally Tyson fucking Fury, I mean, if one of your countrymen is Tyson fucking Fury, I think that's good enough, man. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Tyson Fury and Josh.
Yeah,
is that alone? Just those two right there. That's enough for for a country to be well represented in the state, in the sport.
Yeah, people are gonna have their preferences.
Yeah.
There's just a preference. I don't think it's a true statement. You can't call them trash, but that's just your preference.
Definitely think they're trash.
That's a preference.
But let's move on from this topic, man. I've been patient, and Ezra, you lucky I like you. When the fuck are we gonna start talking about Carlos Adames? When is
shit?
Woo!
About to walk off this shit, man.
Let me tell you right here, bro. I'm curious what your opinion is on this. Do you think, and it paid off? It was a beautiful performance. It was a performance that got everyone excited about him and Charlo. I really believe that. I really believe he cornered Charlo to where if Charlo's not going to move to 168, there's really no excuse not to fight Carlos Adames in January. I really think that fight could happen, and it should happen in January or February. Makes a lot of sense to me. Did you think that was a huge gamble he took going for the stoppage in that round?
Nah, he hurt him. He went in for the kill and he got it.
You weren't
Yeah.
worried about his gas tank though. After that, like if he doesn't get that stoppage, are you worried about his gas tank after that?
I mean, that didn't pass through my mind, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That wasn't. I was just like, oh, get the stoppage, and he did. So
Man, he's looked better and better since the Teixeira fight. If you watch him fight Teixeira, right? You watch that fight, he looks nothing like that fighter anymore, and he completely is like tightened up all his game. He's a way better boxer. He's even better than I thought. That performance was better than even the Gervonta, and that was a good performance for the Gervonta one. I thought he looked better. I thought he looked tighter. He fought southpaw. Like he just did a bunch of stuff that I really liked. I really am really high on him right now. I really am.
Bob Santos is he's a fucking beast when it comes to training, man.
I do like that guy.
You see how sharp he got these Dominicans fighting? Hey, man, he's in running for trainer of the year.
He's an honest trainer. That's what I like about him. And I was there live for that. So, like you said, Broadway, yeah, he hurt him. It reminded me of Del Santos and Rayo. You know, Rayo was beat before he even knew it and got caught and then got pounced on. The bad thing about both of those guys, I mean, the Dominicans, what they're bringing straight heat, straight power. And those guys just got caught, man. Like Montiel, like it was really the first two knocks that stunned him. And before he could even say, oh, shit, he was getting his ass beat on. So he went there and did it, man.
Broadway, maybe I'm interpreting this wrong. I remember you told me this story, but would you say that Santos kind of make like strategic moves to get all these fighters under his basically as the head trainer to all these Dominican fighters?
Not well. No. I think, and I wish I had Santos on my channel before, and I'm also gonna have him on.
He's coming up
this Wednesday, so I'm gonna try to see if I could get something out of him. But to be honest, it was really more Ismael Salas who fucked everything up, right? So Ismael Salas was when Garcia got the fight for Colbert, he was in Scotland training Rubasi. Now when Garcia is training for Gutierrez, he's in Japan with Ioka, and then allegedly, I haven't confirmed this, but allegedly he wanted to stay an extra week in Japan because his wife is Japanese and he wanted a vacation out there. So it's like, you obviously not prioritizing the Dominicans. All right, so there's that. But even with all that, once he came back from Japan, the Dominicans was like, yo, we're just going to work training with you, and Santos is going to be our strength and conditioning coach. Ismael Salas was like, cool, but he had some beef with Santos because Santos wasn't taking him to the gym. He was taking him to other gyms, and he wanted them to train in his gym for whatever reason.
So, okay, but you see what I'm saying, though, about the strategic moves, maybe.
No, but how is that strategic? Well, from again, I only have Salas' side. I don't have Santos' side. So I'm just saying. So what Salas says that when he approached Santos to be like, yo, you have to train them in my gym. I don't want to train them in another gym. In other gyms, he said that Santos told him, he's like, yeah, but your wife is not letting me bring in my sparring partners. And he says that he doesn't understand why he said that, because his wife would never let him do that. She would let anybody bring in sparring partners as long as they coordinate with her. And he said that whatever. So when he got back to Las Vegas, all the Dominicans was like, yo, we're gonna train with you. All right, cool. And he said, all right, listen, y'all train with me, but I don't like Santos. So when y'all do your strength and conditioning with him, do that outside of my gym. You could do that outside, and then you do your boxing training here. Cool. And that was it. And then he changed his mind. Last minute, he was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. All of y'all, anybody who was training with Santos won't be training with me. That's it. And so he was the one who cut it off. So people make it seem like, yo, Santos snaked them. Bro, you dropped him. Like, what do you want him to do? Not train with the guy who was training them while you were away?
Yeah, so I don't want to say snake. I wasn't going like as far
Appreciate
as
that
snake.
nugget. That's good information.
It is good information. And I won't say snake. I don't think snake. I think that Santos kind of was like, these guys ain't getting the full attention here. This is a good stable of fighters. I think I could train them. I think that the sparring, as far as like, oh, your wife didn't let the people come spar here. I kind of think that was just him kind of making that move, right? To take him to other gyms, get him sparring. He was kind of making his move. To me personally, I don't think it's snake though. I think it's he saw fighters that weren't getting attention. He didn't really get along with this guy, so he was like, "Well, I'll just kind of if they're not getting attention here, then I'll take them somewhere where they could get attention." I think that's what happened personally, and I think that he made it in a way where Salas just whether Salas really said get out of here or those guys just all said, "No, we're just gonna stay with this guy," because I think there's a good chance that happened as well, and Salas is just kind of trying to cover himself a little bit, make him, not make it look like a bunch of guys abandoned him.
No, I can confirm that it was Salas who dropped it. I'm not
There's other guys that said.
I'm kind
Okay.
bro. I'm not gonna say nothing.
No, I get you.
You know I'm a legit source.
Yeah, I get you.
Don't make shit up. It was Salas who dropped the Dominicans. It wasn't the Dominicans who left him for Santos. So when people talk shit about Santos, I take it personally because I know for a fact that it wasn't them that left for him. He did not steal those fighters.
But it doesn't matter. Like to me, I don't understand the negative because there's no snake. It's two guys. Right? One guy's a trainer, the other guy's a trainer. If one guy leaves you to go train with someone else, it's not a snake move. It's just like, hey, I'm doing something myself. I have aspirations. I'm not going to play second fiddle. Some guys are not meant to be assistant coaches. Some guys are not meant to be this. They're meant to be head coaches. Or if a head coach leaves and goes and takes a quarterback with him, I don't think like, oh, he snaked him. I just think, hey, look, that's just what happens. Salas has a lot of guys, and that's what I'm saying. So I don't want you to think I'm saying like negative or something like that. I don't think it's negative. I just think he's a guy that saw that he could do this job, and he saw this stable and was like, yeah, I can make this happen. And if this guy's not gonna give him attention, I'll give him the attention they need. And look at it's worked.
And look how he got these Dominicans fighting.
It seems like the right decision, right? It seems like the right everybody made the right move.
Yeah,
are they all with him, Broadway?
Not every Dominican, but there's all the Dominicans that were training with Salas are now training with him. But look at this. He was when Adames was fighting with Salas, he was fighting Orthodox. I don't know what went to which I'll get that info Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, when I interview Bob Santos. So for those of you not subscribed to my channel, go run to my channel, hit that subscribe button, Broadway.
Like and subscribe. Hey, so, Broadway, real fast, man. Hey, I've been repping your ass, bro. I said I've been repping you, bro. Every time I'm on the YouTube channel, Broadway Joel. Go check his stuff out.
I appreciate
it. No doubt. And I got to say this too, because I'm about to get up out of here. You're the one who introduced me to Fred, man. Like over a year ago, we were doing like a late show like this, and me and Fred. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since that moment, man, I've always pretty much been kicking it with Fred. Like I see him everywhere, man. I see him on a lot of familiar channels and stuff, and he's very well liked within the YouTube boxing community. And Fred was talking about you too, Ezra. He didn't know that I knew you too, and I was like, yeah, Ezra's just the man too. He's just doing his own thing. But Freddie he encourages you to stick more out there, Ezra, because he likes your opinions.
Yes, so. It's impossible not to like Fred. I'll tell you right now. On far as like boxing on YouTube and everything like that, he's one of the coolest guys you can meet. And Broadway introduced me to him too. So
yeah, but it's really good to hear you guys' voices. Shout out to the panel, Carlos and Frank. I'm gonna go ride the dogs, and Carlos, man, enjoy that Oklahoma dog.
Nah, man, you too, bro. For real. Have a good one.
Peace.
Much love, though. Much love, guys. Later.
For sure, man. Have a good one.
But yeah, that's man. Well, I'll tell you right now, like Santos he's in a good spot, and Dominican boxing is in a really good spot. And we always talk about this Broadway, but it's like insane. It's an insane run. It just really
bro, it's insane. It's like, we don't lose. Dominicans run boxing, and then this weekend we got Michelle Rivera fighting, and he gonna knock this dude out, and it's gonna be another win for Dominicans.
When does Mini Pac-Man fight?
He got ordered to fight Knockout Freshmart,
yes,
the WBA Super Champion. So they're currently in negotiations. I'm thinking it goes to purse bid, to be honest with you, because neither fighter I could see wanting to go to the other guy's home country. So it's a matter of who's going to pay more. That's not a source of me. That's me, just my opinion.
I'll be honest with you. If all four of us just put our money together, we might be able to bid for that fight. That can be over like 10 grand, honestly. So
listen, if that fight's in DR, I might fly out there, man.
That'd be what you do if you do that is you got to film it. You got to do like a live vlog of you in DR for a fight.
Now, all right. So let me break some news now. It's not really breaking news, but it's something that I'm in the works of doing. I'm trying to get the English commentary for Schwan promotions in DR. So they'll fly me out, put me in a hotel. I do the English commentary for their fights and fly back.
That's sick. You're in talks with them to do that or what?
So I know somebody who knows the promoter, and you know what's funny? It's like I had seen her in Florida when I went to go cover the event, and I had this idea. Well, not really. This idea was floated to me recently. I have contacts to her, but I'm just kind of like embarrassed. So somebody I know who is intimate with the promoter is like, "Don't worry. Next time I see them, I'm gonna put the word in for me." And this dude, he's a really, really good talker. Like this dude could sell, ice in a winter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's like, "I got you, bro. Don't worry." And I'm like, "Hey, man, if you can make that happen, I would love you forever." And we'll see.
You will
That's really
literally be the voice of Dominican boxing. That would literally become like that's full. That's everything that could come. That would literally what you would be if you could commentate Dominican cards like that.
Yeah, man. I hope so. I mean, it wouldn't be for every fight, obviously, because unfortunately, my work schedule is hideous. I'm at work right now.
I'm telling you, if you go to for Dominican card though, and you go there, do a live vlog of it. Or not a live vlog, just do a vlog of it. Record it, film everything you're doing because that'll be really interesting.
I will. I feel like I've hogged up enough time.
No, you don't hog up anything.
I want to hear Carlos and Frank's take on Dama's performance.
Bro, I saw that fight, and like I told you, I thought honestly that was going to be a decision. Adames just comfortably wins 9 to 10 rounds. When I saw that shit, man, and he fucked that boy up in 3 rounds, bro, I immediately just thought in my head, bro, this dude's going to beat Charlo's ass, bro. That's what I said. I don't think Charlo's going to fight him, though, because he doesn't like fighting good fighters, so, yeah.
That part.
Bro, Ezra and Broadway Joel, they know how I feel about Gervonta Charlo, man. That's what I'm going to say, too.
What you think, Frank? What you think of the Carlos Adames performance?
He stole the show. Obviously, everybody was buzzing. You know what he did. So, I mean, it was a good performance. You know, they were booing at first, but he obviously came to fight.
That motivated him.
Yeah, I mean, he came to fight. He did what he had to do, you know. But that guy was limited. I don't know if it's a good measure against Charlo, but I'm not too high on Charlo anyway. I mean, he has who has a better shot against Charlo than him? I mean, if Charlo were able to choose his opponents, I think one of the last guys on his list would be this Adames guy. You think he's saying, yeah, man, let's get him right now? I think he has to be questioning it.
Yeah, it's a tough fight, and it's like of his options, right? We got to think of Charlo's options. You would think maybe after this weekend, the Plant Doral winner. Well, I think Plant, but just say Plant Doral winner. You got Benavidez. He's hoping Canelo comes, right? But that's just like a hope. It's whatever Canelo decides at that point. And then it'd be Adames. So, Adames of those guys isn't the name, right? But he's the guy that's in your own weight class. So that's like the pros and cons of it. It's like, okay, I don't have to go up and fight a big guy at 168. I can fight a guy in my weight class. He's gonna be a tough fight. He's not gonna be the biggest name that I have as an option. He's in an interesting spot. Charlo's in an interesting spot. I think I think that the Adames fight will happen next. I think that is the fight they go in this direction because Benavidez is gonna have a fight coming up. He's not gonna fight Charlo next, obviously. Plant has a fight right now. How long can Charlo wait? He's already been out for a while. Got sustained that injury, if that was a real injury, because to cancel the Selecki fight. I think Adames is a fight that has to happen, honestly. Yeah. I think it's a fight that has to happen. Now, I don't know if I don't think Charles is afraid to fight anyone. I really don't. I think he got 160 pounds and there was no one there. That's just the honest truth of it. There's no one there at 160 pounds. There's nothing to make happen. There is finally a fight there to make happen. If he doesn't take this fight and he still fights a Selecki or fights another guy that I've never heard of and doesn't fight Adames, then I'm going to start being really suspicious of him. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that he's going to be willing to take a fight, a tough one, against Adames.
No, and the reason why this is a tough fight, obviously, we literally just saw in his last fight why this would be a tough fight. But to add on top of that, it's like, all right, like, do you prepare for a southpaw? Do you prepare for orthodox? Like, I don't know. Like, if you were in his camp, what are you preparing for? Because his whole career he's fought orthodox, and then in this last fight he fought southpaw. It's like,
And he looked sharp. He looked really sharp.
yeah, he didn't look like a orthodox fighter fighting southpaw. He just looked, he looked like a southpaw, and he's that right hook was fucking vicious. Man, he put it up a great performance, man, and again, he won the WBC interim belt, so meaning he's the mandatory, and if Charlo Moose decides to move up, he gets elevated to full champion. So this was a big win for him and a big win for the Dominican Republic.
Who is ranked below him? In that, I'm looking up right now.
I believe it's Munguia.
It's who? Oh, Munguia? Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
That'd be
right, because Munguia turned down that elimination fight. The eliminator.
Is ducking fucking boxing, man. The Munguia fight him.
The thing is I like Munguia too, man. Like his fighting style is entertaining, and obviously
it's actually pretty interesting. Adames, Munguia, who would probably turn down that fight, and then you have Eubank Jr. And then you have Murata. It's actually not a bad names for Adames if Charlo turns his fight down, because him and Eubank is pretty interesting. Murata is still, I think a fight that Adames would win, but still tough fight, interesting fight. And then you got Derevyanchenko, which is obviously you're not gonna get to that point.
Yeah, he already beat Derevyanchenko.
Yeah, he already beat Derevyanchenko. That's what I'm saying. So you're not gonna get to that point. But Eubank, so you got Munguia, Eubank, and Murata. Those are all interesting matchups if the Charlo fight doesn't happen. I'm gonna say the Charlo fight happens.
I think Charlo vacates. That's just my opinion.
And then goes and fights what, Benavidez or Plant?
Some random guy.
Yeah, I agree with him. I don't think he fights Adames.
I don't have any proof of Charlo ducking anyone. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think Charlo's ever ducked anyone.
And
he was going to fight Canelo. Like that's we know that's going to happen. You know that. I mean, you knew that he was really going to fight. He was going to fight Canelo. Now, was he going to fight Benavidez? And like we already talked about it, the excuses they had for why he was going to fight Benavidez. But the honest truth, if he just been honest with himself and just said, "Hey, the guy's 168 pounds. I'm 160." That's a good enough excuse for me. I'm like, yeah, I can't force you to go up and weight just because I think that you should. Now, at the end of your career, if you don't have the notable names and you never went and search for them, that's on you, yes. But I'm not going to say he ducked, right? I think at 160 pounds, I don't see him ducking anyone. He fought Derevyanchenko. That was available to him. He's fought everyone that's been available to him. Just haven't been any names available to him. That's just the honest truth of it.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense to go up and fight a bigger fight if it was Caleb Plant. That would put more pressure on Canelo if he goes up and gets a win like that, just from a boxing strategic point, and then get Adames the belt, and then he would be at 160.
Who, Adames?
If Charlo gave up the belt, but he'd have to fight a title. I mean, it'd be for a vacant title, right? So
I think Broadway says because he's interim, he just becomes a champion.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Kind of similar to Janet Beck.
Yeah.
You join that email club. I'm telling you, that's a good club to be in right now.
So maybe it looks like Adames maybe is Felix. They're promoting this guy Felix Cash.
Felix Cash is. Let me see where he's ranked right now.
Oh, Adames will fuck him up.
I think so too. Felix Cash isn't. Let's just go through the middleweight division. You got Janet Beck at WBO. You're gonna hear Munguia's name a lot. He's number 1. Chris Eubank is number 2, and then Falcoa is number 3. Then you got Golovkin IBF. You have Falcoa number 1 there. Zarafa is number 2, and Patrick, some German guy, is number 3. And then you got I want to pronounce his name. I don't want to be disrespectful like that, but I literally cannot. It's Wojcicki, I think. Wojcicki, I'm gonna say. WBC, you got Charlo. That would be the one Adames takes interim. Munguia, and then you had WBA, which is the interesting one because if Golovkin goes the PBC route, he will fight Lara, who is the what is he, the Reggie, I guess, the super champion, or regular champion. So he would fight Lara, and then that would set up a possible Charlo matchup if Golovkin goes that direction, the PBC route. But if Golovkin drops this, Lara would become champion, and then they would probably make Charlo versus Lara. So that's the one thing that could kind of screw over Adames, and it's the situation is if Golovkin drops that bout.
Yeah, just because Adames, I mean, there wouldn't be enough money for that fight at this moment.
For who?
For Charlo.
Yeah, there's money there because if they're gonna make Selecki, I mean, I don't think.
I mean,
Adonis
no,
is
I'm saying not if
demanding.
there's a bigger money fight
Oh
going up.
yeah. Like if you, yes, there's a bigger money fight, or if Golovkin comes, you know what I mean. Then obviously that would.
And then it would just
change
make more
plans.
sense because then they could put another PBC guy in as a belt holder.
Yo, and I don't understand why, if they're having problem with Jamal selling tickets, yo, bringing that fight to Brooklyn against Adamas. Let's say he does take the Adamas fight, which 90% of people don't think is going to happen. But let's just say he does. Yo, in Brooklyn, first of all, it's New York. If it's a good fight, we'll show up, and that's a fucking good fight. Whether you're a fan of, no matter what fighter you're a fan of, and then there's a lot of Dominicans here in New York. We'll pull up for a championship fight, and especially they got me now. That's what I try to tell people. Yo, these Dominicans, they got me now. Yo, you know what's funny? I DM'd a few Dominicans. Yo, and I made them all buy tickets for the Wilder fight and just telling them, yo, support Michelle, bring your flag. So I got like 5 people going that wasn't going to go. You know what I'm saying?
It's smart. It's smart. And then you're gonna see the flag on TV. You're gonna be like, look it, they're coming. They're coming. 'Cause honestly, that's what happened. Like that's literally Golovkin's thing with like the Mexican style and all that. That's literally how this like started. It literally started with like the whole Mexican style, and there was getting like a little Mexican fan base in LA when he started fighting, and it like blew up into like where he was a credible opponent for Canelo.
Yeah, so one of the dudes even bought a Michelle Rivera sweater, and he said he's gonna wear it there. I guess Michelle Rivera has a brand deal with some FTRW, whatever brand that's called. And he bought a Michelle Rivera sweater. He said he's gonna wear it, and then he gave me the idea. He's like, "Yo, start a Facebook group called Dominican Boxing Fans, where we plan to buy a whole section."
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. A bad idea.
That's my point. I'm trying to tell people, when people tell me, yo, Dominicans don't sell tickets, I'm like, they got Broadway Joel now. Like, it's good. Things are gonna change the same way things are changing in the ring, how we fucking shit up. Things are gonna change on the box office too. And don't worry, that's gonna be part of my legacy.
Broadway is putting the Dominican boxing on his back, I like in a way that I have not seen. It reminds me of when Conor McGregor came to the UFC, and Joe Rogan was talking about how he has a whole nation on his back of Ireland. That's the way I feel about Broadway every time he does a podcast. I'm like, he has a whole nation on his back.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Because last year I remember he was called the boxing guru, shit like that, and now he has that thing with the Dominican.
The voice of Dominican boxing.
Yeah,
I'm the voice
of Dominican boxing. Yeah, man.
So
it's pretty cool.
Shout out to Ezra for gifting that name, man.
Hey, that's a really unique, like, just really cool name, bro. That is really cool.
Yeah. Got my bad.
No, yeah. That's like I said. There's never been a better moment to be the voice of Dominican boxing for what we're seeing right now. And if you were just like gonna say like what country had the best year in boxing, it has to be Dominican boxing. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
The only loss I can think of is Mariñez, and he took that fight on 1 day notice.
And was in tough.
Yeah. And he
was in tough. Yeah, he was in tough with it. It was a good fight.
Himself. He put in a great showing for himself. And by the way, if Michelle Rivera can't get a big fight, whether it be Cruz or Rolly or Tank, I want him to fight Frank Martin next.
That's good. That's a good matchup. Honestly, any of those guys matched up right now would be good at 135 pounds. There's the ones that PBC has, like, they're top guys. I'd like to see any of those guys fight. I guess the rumor is Rolly is moving up to 140. He's done with 135. He's fighting at 140. If I was Michelle Rivera, I'd probably chase him up there to be like, I still go fight you at 140, and then I'll come back down just to get the notoriety of beating a name like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that if they could match up with like a Cruz or, like you said, Martin would be excellent matchup.
All right. Yeah. I'm with you.
What were you saying, Carlos?
I said, yeah, I agree, man. I think there's a lot of good fights for Michelle Rivera after this because, like, obviously the guy he's fighting. I mean, I had to search him up on BoxRec because I didn't really know him. All I know is that he lost to Frank Martin. But after this, I mean, obviously a lot of guys don't want to fight him right now, which is makes sense because he's a dangerous guy. But after this, there has to be a lot of options, which is rather Cruz, Frank Martin, Rolly. So yeah, there's a lot of good fights for him after this.
Well, if you don't really, what kind of benefit him because he wasn't going to get the Tank fight, but what benefit him is that Tank fights Ryan, then Cruz is available, right, and then he might get that fight, and that'd be a very interesting fight as well.
That'd be such a good fight, man.
It would be. It'd be a good fight.
I want Cruz to either fight De Los Santos or Michelle Rivera next.
I'm curious what they do with Santos because I don't know. Yeah, you guys were saying like bring him along slowly, but I just kind of feel like he's already in there now, right? Like you kind of you can't go backwards with him. You kind of have to move forward. What do you think, bro? How do you think they match him up? Did we lose Broadway? Oh, it cut out.
My bad. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you
No.
now.
I agree with you, man. Throw him in the deep end. From what I've been hearing, as far as he's currently in DR right now. His birthday actually just passed, so I'm assuming he went out there to fly out for his birthday. But from what I'm hearing, man, this dude's the goods as far as skills wise. I know power wise, he's the goods. And again, anybody who's there to be hit, and Cruz is, I'm picking De Los Santos. The way people have talked to me about his power is legendary. So okay, I'm gonna just go by my sources. So I want that fight.
Yeah, and I think Santos' style is like it's kind of like must see. If you especially like him and Cruz, I mean, you would have to guess that's just going to be fireworks with those two dudes fighting each other.
For sure.
What'd you guys think of Fundora's performance?
What's it called? I think it was pretty good, man. I mean, like the first 3 rounds, Fundora was kind of just getting hit like from the outside, kind of a little bit, which is funny because he was like 6'6" and he was gonna get hit outside. But then from round 4 to round 10, it was literally just a barrage just inside, and that's where he was having more success. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think I scored it 9 rounds to 3 for Fundora, and I thought exactly he could have maybe. Yeah, I thought he could have maybe got the stoppage, but obviously he didn't. You know, Ocampo was pretty tough. And then the funniest part was whenever the whole situation with Jack Reese happened. You know, that was pretty weird, and it was funny.
God. Jack Reese was horrible, awful. I'll go deeper into that, but
that was weird, man.
Yeah, very strange. We'll go deeper into that. But what do you think, Frank? What do you think of the performance?
I thought it was decent considering the level of opposition. I mean, Ocampo was just tough. I mean, he was tough as a $2 steak. I don't think he had any exceptional skills. It was a showcase fight, so I hear people saying this and that about Fundora. They don't like they think he should fight from the outside and these things. And yeah, he has some flaws and some holes, but I think he'll be tough for anybody. You'll have to really come to fight with that guy because he's coming to fight. There's no doubt about it. And I like his style, I want to see him again.
Yeah. What about you, Broadway?
The fight kind of played out how I said it would. I don't know if you remember. I said it was going to be a close fight.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I said that I think it might be a little bit controversial. I don't think it was controversial. I scored the fight 8-4, in favor of Fundora. I'll be honest, and you guys can disagree. I wasn't that in particularly impressed. Like I ain't come away like, damn man, this guy Fundora's a problem. I came away kind of like, I don't know if he's fucking with the top guys, and that's a deep division, by the way. So I didn't come away too impressed, but I thought he won the fight clearly, and I think Jack should be banned from boxing.
I agree with you on that with Jack Reese. I do have one question. Okay, before this fight, what was your like idea of Fundora before this fight happened? Did this fight change your opinion of what Fundora was, or did it just kind of like solidify what you believed of him, or what would you?
I was a bit up in the air as far as it. I was more leaning towards he's good, but the only thing is that Sergio Garcia performance just replays in my fucking head. I thought he lost that fight, man. I thought he lost, but you got to give a guy a break. It was only one fight. He came back in his next fight, knocked out Lubin. So I was like, I don't know what to make of him. I was like, let's see what happens here. And this fight was more like more the fight where I was like, all right, I'm gonna see where he's at now, because Ocampo's not a bum, but he's not a fucking world beater either. You know what I'm saying? He ain't drop him at no point. He ain't hurt him at no point. Did he even cut him? I don't even think he cut him. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't that impressed. Although he did win 8-4, some people had it 9-3, which I think is appropriate. I wanted to see a little bit more.
This is what because it's funny. It's interesting what you're saying, and I agree with you. But I don't think this fight has changed my opinion on him. I think honestly it was the same. I had exactly where I stood before with him, which I think if he fights on the inside, I think he's a problem for anyone. I think he can compete with anyone in that division if he fights on the inside consistently. But you brought the Sergio Garcia fight, and that's the fight that stays in my mind too, because that was a fight that he tried to box in. He tried to use his length, he tried to use his reach, and it didn't work. And when he does that, he's a below average fighter, in my opinion. In this fight, he tried to do that, and he was losing to start the fight. He tried to box, fight at a distance, and he was losing. But when he fights on
the first 3 rounds,
I thought I had a 3-1 after 4, right? So I gave him I think the second round in that fight. But I don't think he's very good when he fights on the outside. So I agree with you, Broadway, that yes, when he fought Sergio Garcia, I thought there was a case you could make that he lost that fight. And it was because he boxed, though. But I still see when he fights on the inside, he's still just as effective as when he fought Lubin. He's just as effective as when he fought Gladimore, or when he fought Coda. He's just as effective. But it's going to be a mentality thing for him. Is he going to still try to figure out this, I'm boxing on the outside? Because if he's trying to figure that out, it's not going to figure it out at this level. Not with the guys this good. If they're going to bring him all the way back and give him some light touches where he could learn that part of his game, which it may never come, but that they try to do that, that's the only way it works. It's not going to work against top 10 guys. Someone's going to beat him. It won't even be the guy that we're expecting to beat him, right? It'll be a guy that is just a mid-level guy because he can't fight with that style. He's got to come in with the mentality: I'm going to war. I'm going to get on the inside. And the thing that bothers me too is like people say, he doesn't use his height. He doesn't use his reach. He does. He uses it on the inside. He gets shots off that you wouldn't be able to get off if you were a short arm fighter, or if he sees things that you wouldn't be able to see if you're short and stocky. Because he's tall and he has reach, he could get body shots for certain angles. He could get a lot of leverage in the shots. It doesn't take him a lot of motion to get certain shots off from body to head. So I see things that I really like from him, but I do agree with you. If he fights on the outside and tries to box, he's going to get knocked out. He'll lose to Charlo bad if he fights on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, he ain't fucking with Charlo. I can guarantee you that. And by the way, Charlo is co-trained by Joan Guzman. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
Dominican too. You got that Dominican right there. But if he fights on the inside, if he could fight on the inside consistently, right?
That's the thing. You think you the only motherfucker seeing that shit? Of course. Now, when you get to a level, people are gonna box you.
But every time he's struggled is when he's chose the box. I'm saying though, if he's gonna come forward on Charlo, he's gonna have success in that fight. I understand that where Charlo is an excellent fighter. He's one of the best fighters in the world. I have him in my top, I believe, 3, like pound for pound. Right? I think he's one of the best fighters in the world right now. But I think we're a little bit overstating of how consistently skilled he is. He has lapses in judgment. He has lapses in moves he makes. Like, you could put pressure on him. I mean, if you remember, and Broadway, I know you're going to know this, Jensen Rosario was able to put pressure on him. Jensen Rosario was able to do a lot of good work in that fight. He just was not sturdy enough to last against Charlo's big, powerful shots. Yeah. If Jensen Rosario is able to put pressure on you, if he's able to do good work on the inside, then Fundora is going to be able to do good work on the inside. He's going to be able to put pressure on you.
I think people don't realize how hard Jason Rosario hits. So, believe me, from, again, sources, they all tell me he can crack. And, J-Rock will fucking tell you if he can crack or not. So I think maybe he was wary of the power, or maybe the power was moving him where he's like, hold on, I got to be careful. So there's that. And also, I do think that adding Joan Guzman, because he only did it for the last 2 Castaño fights.
Yeah.
I think if you see how he looked in that second fight, and I'm does not mean even being biased. I'm being serious right now. If we see how he fought in that second fight, you saw some Guzman in him. He showed a lot of good defense and head movement and shoulder rolls and pivots, things that Guzman used to do. And I don't know if you guys know, after the fight, he paid Guzman his, whatever his trainer check is. and gave him an extra 50,000 on top of it because he was like, "Yo, bro, you did that much good for me in my training camp." And so I think Guzman, it being in his training camp, I think we're gonna see another level of him.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that from the last fight, he was way better improved from what it was in the first fight with Castano. I think that a lot of the people don't talk about how bad Charlo's game plan and strategy was in the first fight with Castano, because it was awful. It was one of the worst. Like everything that people like, I'm talking like just normal dude just scouting Castano fight would be like, don't do this. He did all of it in the first fight. And still was, like I said, it's Charlo. He's competitive. He was still explosive enough, fast enough, skilled enough to make that an extremely competitive fight while fighting with the worst strategy ever.
He wasn't active first fight.
Joanne Guzman?
No.
Oh, Charlo.
Well,
yeah,
I said he wasn't active enough in the first fight. Why you bring up Joanne?
Yeah. No, I thought you were saying he wasn't active in his corner. My bad. I cut off. That's why.
My bad. He wasn't throwing enough punches in that first fight. I think he could have won the first fight. He just didn't throw enough punches. But again,
he also allowed
overwhelmed.
He also fought like at the wrong range. He allowed himself against the ropes. He would fight when Castano got in a spot. He would try to trade with him, and that was a mistake. He didn't pick his spots when to work. Now, like I said, the second fight is a big improvement. But I think it honestly, because of the first fight, it kind of leads to like an overrating of Castano, of how good he actually was. I'm not sure how good he really is. I think he's a good fighter. I don't think he's a great fighter. I think a lot of people think that Castano is like number 2 at 154 right now. I'm not sure I buy that. I think that Fedor would beat him.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, 154 is not really a extremely deep division. I mean, besides Charlo, there's nobody that's knocking on the door that we think, oh yeah, that's going to be a good fight.
I think Fedor is. But keep going.
But that's what I was going to lead to, is that, is Fedor any better or worse than Tim Tszyu? That's what I'm saying about the division.
Yeah. I think Fedor's better than Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu's trash to me.
I don't think he's trash though. So there you go.
See, I think he has a good. I think he has a good shot. I know what you're saying. I just think he's a tough. He shoots straight. He shoots very straight.
I think Tszyu's good. I honestly do. I think Tszyu's good. I think that Charlo is. I think what happens is we start putting down fighters because maybe we don't think they have a chance against Charlo. That's fine. A lot of guys are not going to have a chance against Charlo. That don't mean they're bad fighters. And if we start doing that, you're going to start taking credit away from Charlo wins. But if Charlo knocks out Tszyu in the first round, people are going to be like, I told you he was trash. I don't think that's what that means. I think it just means that's how good Charlo is. I think Tszyu's a good fighter. I really do. I think Tszyu's a good fighter.
That's what I was going to say, is that I don't want to say how much of a chance Fedor has, because I think he'll have one more fight. I think it's going to be Danny Garcia, but I need to see Charlo versus, because it'll be a year. How Charlo does against Tszyu, because if it's a knockout, drag him out fight, he takes a lot of damage. I'm like, okay, Fedor, that's the time to get him. That's usually when they take the fights, is when they see something. But yeah, if he mollywops Tszyu and gets him out of there, then it's like, okay, Fedor has no shot.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it could just really just show what level Charles at. You know what I mean? I like I said, I think the Castano fight and then winning the undisputed. I like I said, I think Charlo is top. Like I said, he's top 3 pound for pound. But I think maybe there's a little bit of like he's like so superior to everyone. I'm not sure. I think that maybe these fights are a little more competitive than people want to say.
And when you say superior, but that's what I'm saying about the division not being extremely deep. I mean, all these guys are really green. I mean, you're Bandora, Castano. I mean, was he at 20 fights? Tszyu at 21 fights. It's not an extremely deep division, so everybody really has a chance to beat everybody in this type of division. We don't really have a pound for pound king. Now I know you have him pound for pound, but.
Yeah, I think Charlo is a pound for pound king in here. But I get what you're saying. 100%.
I mean, because I was going to use your own argument against you about like Castano. I don't think he's a good fighter, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know what level Castano is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what level he is. I think people want, because he was competitive with Charlo, they want to say that he's at a high level.
Castano reminds me of a guy I remember that everybody was like, he's the Lucas Matisse.
Matisse was good though. I mean,
but once he got figured out, we never heard from him again.
Like he had a really good fight with Danny Garcia, and I don't know. I thought that
Yeah,
kind of
Danny was
like
the dog in
solidified
that.
that they were at really high levels at that point. But
They
let's
were
say
trying to
that
make
okay, Charlo
Matisse say,
has
"Oh, go ahead."
at 154. There's Castano's number one. And this is I'm looking at box live, so
Yeah,
whatever,
that's what
take
I'm
it whatever you
looking.
want. But
Mhm.
Castano, Fandora, Zoo, Harrison. I think that's your clear top four. I don't disagree with that at all. I think Fandora to me is the toughest challenge for Charlo of those guys I named. Harrison, we already know what that looks like. He might outbox Charlo early, but he'll break late. Zoo, we're gonna find out. I think that he might not have enough tools yet to be competitive in this fight for a long time, right? He might just be there too much for Charlo to hit. We're gonna find out though. I think he's a good fighter. And Castano, I want to see him fight one of these guys. I wouldn't mind seeing Castano versus Harrison. I wouldn't mind seeing Castano versus
Oh, that'd be really good.
Zoo, or Castano versus Fandora, or Castano even versus Lupin. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I want to see what Castano is, because it's hard to really measure how good he is.
Well, he's good. I mean, he took Charlo life and death, so he's good.
I mean, stop, but that could just be okay. But okay, here we go then. Is how good is Andy Ruiz? Now, Andy Ruiz beat Joshua, but how good is Andy Ruiz?
This is my measuring stick. He's good enough to beat anybody if they're not on their A game. You know, like when you're a pound for pound king, that to me, that's meaning like you can have a bad camp, you could have shit going on in your life, but you have that fifth gear, you know, that next level edge that only the elite of the elite have. You understand what I'm saying?
I think Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Usyk all beat Andy Ruiz with their B game. I think on a bad day, off day, I think they all beat Andy Ruiz. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. It's hard to say one fight. I know what level you're at. I don't. I need to see consistency. I need to see you fight consistently. Like okay, you guys beat Pacquiao. Now that's a really questionable win because we don't know what level of Pacquiao was at that point. Yeah, no, but I'm just saying though, right? But so people's mind like, oh, you guys is at that point, and it's like, well, okay, then he fights Spence. That fight's not really close, right? It's not really a close fight. So then you got to be like, okay, what level is you guys at? You know what I mean? Who off of one performance, I'm just going to say he's at that level. No, I need to see consistently. I need to see.
Ugas is a B fighter, but he will beat any. If you're not on your A game, he will beat you.
I don't know if that's true though. I don't know if that's true. Well, why do we say like who? Okay, let's go to the rankings. Let's go to. I'm going to name a guy. You tell me if he beats him if he's on his B game. Crawford.
Can he beat if?
Crawford would beat him on his B game. He would beat
Crawford would beat him on his B game.
You don't think Ugas has a good chance against Crawford, or at least give him a good fight?
I don't.
No.
Damn.
Okay.
I think he at least puts up a good fight.
Boots Ennis is B game. I think he beats Ugas.
He could beat. No, if Boots Ennis came in and had a bad night, he's gonna lose.
I don't agree with that. How about Ortiz Jr. Virgil?
Yeah, he would beat Virgil if Virgil's not his head's not there.
See, I don't know about that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know how good Ugas is. I really don't. I don't know how good Ugas is.
He's good enough. He's good enough that if he has his greatest night ever, you know, the night of his life, he could beat anybody if they're not on their A game.
What do you think, bro? What do you think about Ugas?
I mean, I think Ugas is a solid contender, but I'm not gonna. I don't think he beats Boots or Virgil if they're on their B game. I think these young guys they hitting hard, man. Like, you know when you could, there's some guys coming up, they getting knockouts, and you kind of like not sure of it. These two, I'm almost positive that no, this power is legit. Like those are legit power. So I just think that even if on a bad night, I think eventually they end up clipping them. Especially now after Ugas already had his orbital bone broken, is only susceptible to being broken again. And these are two really, really big punches.
What do you think of Castano? What do you rate Castano?
I rate Castano's the second best light middleweight. I know you disagree, but I think he beats Fandora. I think he's strong physically. I feel like in that first fight against Charlie, he was pushing him. Even that fight against Laura had a tough time getting him off of him. Like, yo, this motherfucker's crowding me and pushing me around, and he's like a fucking tank.
Yeah.
So and Fandora, although huge, is skinny, and yeah, you can take these shots from these other guys and Lubin and Ocampo. I don't think you're gonna be able to consistent. I don't think Castano stops Fundora, but I think he breaks him down to the point where this guy, he wants to slow the pace down and doesn't want to fight on the inside as much. I would pick Castano. Plus, Castano has the experience factor over him as well.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm more just like in the boat. Like I don't know how good Castano is. That's just how I feel. I know he matched up well with Charlo, but I don't mean that you're a great fighter. That just means you might just have a good matchup. Mayorga knocked out Vernon Forrest. Mayorga was never a great fighter. He just knocked out Vernon Forrest
Twice.
Yeah, he knocked him out twice. He beat him twice. Then knocked him out once, and then beat him the decision the second time. But yeah, he was never a great fighter, though. I don't think anyone. I mean, maybe at that point when he beat him, you thought he was a great fighter, but time proved that he was not a great fighter. He just matched up well with this guy. Honestly.
No, go ahead, Mom.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Honestly, I think Mayorga was as good as we thought he was. He just wasn't as disciplined as he should have been. Because Mayorga was awkward, but he hit hard, and he consistently gave everybody a tough fight. Maybe with the Tito.
I mean, remember, he gets schooled right after the Vernon Forrest fight by Spinks. I mean, he gets schooled bad. I mean, that fight is not close. It was horrible. I mean, it was one of the worst matchups they could have had for him. I mean, he gets schooled bad enough. I don't know. I just thought there's just some guys you just match up right. Like you just have a good fight, you match up right. Like Mickey Ward Gotti, they just match up right.
You don't remember his fights with Mosley? That was a competitive fight. Obviously.
Yeah, but Mosley was washed at that point.
Mosley was not washed. That was before he fought Margarito.
Is it? No, I don't think it is. Is it? Oh, maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Google it. I'm like almost positive.
You might be right. That sounds actually kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, sounds about right.
And he
No. Okay, wait. He fought He fought Margarito a few times. I forgot about that. It's literally right before he fought Margarito. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And and even when he fought Cotto, where Mayorga was washed, he gave Cotto a little bit of trouble. I don't know if you remember.
I'm looking. I don't even remember him fighting Cotto. I'll be honest with you. Let me.
He fought Cotto at 154. This was when Cotto had switched trainers with Emmanuel Stewart, and he gave Cotto a little bit of trouble, and he got stopped. I just think he just was never fully 100% dedicated in the sport.
He got stopped by Mosley and Cotto in the last round. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the Cotto stoppage was fucking weird. He got caught with a left hook, then looks at his hand and goes, "Oh, my hand hurts," and it's like, and he quits.
How about Mayorga outboxing Vernon Forrest in the second fight? I mean, that had to take all Vernon Forrest's confidence away to get outboxed in that fight to lose the decision to Mayorga.
He also beat Vargas too. Mayorga beat Vargas, although that was Vargas, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a wash, Vargas.
But my point is, he always put up a good showing for himself. And it's funny, I actually didn't see that Spinks fight, but I'll take your word for it that he got.
Oh goodness, don't watch it. It's brutal. It's one of the worst matchups ever that Don King ever put together. It's just Spinks moving around him and Mayorga being 3 feet away from every shot. It is horrible.
Oh, it's a boring fight.
Yeah, there's just nothing happens. It's just Spinks. Spinks at his best is a boring fight. You know what I mean? There's a fight that Spinks has with Jermaine Taylor, and I will hold. We got to do this one on your show, Broadway. I think there's a good chance you could make an argument that he won that fight against Jermaine Taylor. I really think that no, Corey Spinks. I think Corey Spinks didn't have no power. I think he went in there as like he was the opponent he was supposed to lose. And I think that he outboxed Jermaine Taylor for 12 rounds. That's just, he doesn't get the credit for it. The score is very wide for Jermaine Taylor. But I remember watching him being like, I don't think Jermaine Taylor won this fight. So that's one we got to add to the show, Broadway. We got to do that one.
We got to do one of those again, bro.
I got to figure out a day where we just do it every this day. You know what I'm saying?
Let me know.
The only thing is difficult for me because I have the worst work schedule in America, and then I have to fucking spend time with my family. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get you. I feel that way.
So it's so difficult. That's why I just do it randomly. Like, hey, this Tuesday or this random day, come join.
the one that has to be coming up soon is Chocolatito Estrada. We
Mm,
have to do Chocolatito Estrada coming up soon because that fight's coming up.
You're right. No. I listen, man. I want to do one once a week, but again, my work schedule right now is hideous. Hopefully, by next year, I'll get a new job. But we'll see.
What's it? You don't work tomorrow or what? You don't work Tuesdays? Because you've been doing my space is pretty late, so I'm just like curious. You're at work right now, huh?
Yeah, I'm working.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Fuck this job, man.
Doesn't say I don't know, but yeah, I guess we could like wrap it up here. I mean, I'm at an hour 50, and I feel like if you listen to a full hour 50 and you got through, Broadway and Clever arguing over if Clever's racist and Clever not understanding that he was talking about the age thing and he thought he was talking about steroids, and me having to explain that and clear that up. If you got through that part and made it to an hour 50, I really, my hat's off to you. It really is. I really respect that. You are a true boxing fan to deep dive like that and to hear all our takes on that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys doing that. But I appreciate you guys jumping on Broadway. I appreciate always making time to get on here. Frank, thank you for coming on here. And Carlos, of course, my friend. Broadway, do your advertising for your show.
Yo, everybody follow me on Instagram, Broadway Joel. Follow at _Broadway Joel. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, Broadway Joel. And I just want to give a shout out to Ezra for one, having me on, and two, yeah, I like this Monday night shit right here. You kind of found the niche where, you're doing a Twitter space essentially on YouTube and now putting out content when you would have been doing this already just on Twitter. So I just want to salute you for finding, I guess, a niche, if for lack of a better word. And, you're doing great things, man. I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate it. I want to say the other day too, like those Twitter spaces are they're life consuming. They really are. I was on there last night, probably till like I want to say 12, and we were just talking. It was me, Lord, and who else was on there? It was me, Lord, and King P, and we were talking about MTV reality shows. That's this is the kind of deep dive that we were going through every MTV reality show. We've got to Next and Room Raiders and all the good stuff. So yeah. So those are time consumers of space.
Yo, bro, I literally had a dream of a Twitter space yesterday.
I'm telling you, those bad boys consume my life.
Oh, and shout out to Carlos and Frank, and I fuck with you guys. You guys definitely.
Hell yeah, bro.
And Frank, you have a YouTube channel?
Nah, I'm gonna try to do some content, but I'm just figuring out
I got you.
What to throw on there, and I need people to come on. I'm not I don't like talking to myself. I'm not somebody that can talk to myself. I need to hear people's opinions so I can tell
let me know when you do it. I'll jump on. No problem.
Okay. I invited you another time. Like I do another thing.
Yeah, the what's the name of podcast, right?
Week?
Is that what it's called? War Week?
Yeah, you can find him on. He had Rick Glazer on today, but I do sometimes a thing with him. So
Rick
yeah, but he,
the
thing is, what I like about your show is, like Joe, he had me on before, and he didn't boot me off. You don't, you allow everybody to speak as long as people are respectful. So I always appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I have no problem with someone having an opinion that's different than my own. I really don't. I like to hear all opinions, and I like to hear everybody's point of view. And honestly, you might say something that opens up my mind to something else that I was not thinking. So yeah, I would never. I just keep it respectful. If the argument gets too little serious, then we'll just change the subject. It's all good. You know what I mean? That's it.
Since you don't mind people different opinions, let's just Adamas knocks out Janet back. All right, let's just leave that in there.
Did you wait? Go ahead. Keep going.
No, I want to hear what you got to say. I think fucking boxing Twitter will explode with just me and you going back with memes and.
I hope that matchup happens, but I just hope it means. I hope that all the titles are on the line when it happens. I hope it really means something because it's going to really divide our friendship.
Yeah, if y'all want to blow, you need to create some kind of fake beef. That
won't be a fake beef. That'll be a real.
That'll be real. That will be That will be real. I don't know if you even noticed it. Janabek actually tweeted at me today.
Isn't that the
Word?
guy that said that he would make easy work of Canelo or some shit?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. This man's talking crazy.
What the
And
fuck?
I really respect it. And you got to understand that this man's a heart of a warrior. You got to understand. So he comes here, right? And he comes here. He doesn't speak our language. He doesn't even fight our style, right? He didn't do the Golovkin and sell out and go and try to fight another people's style. No, he fights his style. And he comes and he's taking out people, and there's no money behind him. There's no fans behind him. There's nothing behind him. But yet he's still coming up on top. You got to understand that what it takes to the courage, the strength of this man, the mentality of this man to still come up on top, to now be the A side Janibek over Andrade. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing.
If that fight happens, Adames Janibek, me and you on the undercard, man.
I hope. I'm telling you, bro. We will be the buildup for this fight. When they show like when they show highlights and like the buildup for the fight, they won't even show the fighters. It'll just be me and you talking trash the whole time. That's exactly what it'll be.
I'm significantly bigger than you, so I think I'll have the size.
What are you? What's your size?
I'm 6'1", 240.
I'm 6'1", 220. We're right there.
Oh, I think you're a tall guy. Oh, no.
We're right there.
There we go.
I will need a rehydration clause on you though, but that's all cool. We'll work that out later. We'll figure that out later. That's all politics.
You guys gotta throw a side bet when that happens.
Oh, trust me. If that fight happens, you will hear me in Broadway.
Listen,
conversating
I think
about it
live every fucking day.
Yeah, it'll be a whole thing.
Day on his that fight needs. Let's speak it into existence. That fight needs to happen. It needs to be a unification match, like you said. Maybe an undisputed match. I think Top Rank and PBC will cut us a fucking check.
I'll tell you right now. With talking like this is crazy. It's not crazy, right? It's not a crazy idea. If Golovkin retires, right, and Falcoa takes the belt to Top Rank side, he wins the belt, and then let's say Charlo moves up, and then you do Lara Adames. They could match up for undisputed. It's not an insane thing at all,
bro. Save this clip and save it for when it happens that we spoke it into existence.
Exactly.
And just know our friendship is
it's over. But it ended in a beautiful way. I'll tell you that right now.
And especially you probably gonna block me after Adames knocks your boy out. So
I might block Twitter in general. I might just get off Twitter. It might be the last time on Twitter, honestly. But all right, man. I'm out. Catch you guys later.
All right, next week, man.